right, a couple of things. I guess Amazon is hiring. They have an upcoming hiring event in Aurora on October the 16th. So we have some flyers here on that. And then, let's see, we have some birthdays. Daniel, happy birthday. John Smith, happy birthday. And Barb, your birthday is actually today, right? That's awesome. Very nice. Oh my God. So, you all got the email that we have a very special guest speaker today. Our very own Miss Heidi is going to be giving her testimony, and I'm glad you're here to hear it and to encourage her. But even more than that, she is celebrating her 1 year today. But she's going to get our eagle coin, and I know she's been waiting to receive this, and it does have an eagle on it, nice, where we can fly on wings like eagles. And so, congratulations! All right, Heidi.
Could not have done this without NBRC. Okay, how's everyone doing this morning?
Good.
Awesome. Good. Wonderful. All right, just one little quick announcement. So for house coordinators, I have been doing some computer work with all your houses.
Thank you.
If we can, you're welcome. If we can just set these somewhere for them. This is just the computer policy, and you guys just want to post it by your computer somewhere. Wonderful. Thank you. That's all. Okay. Enough of that. Can we possibly dim the lights?
Well, we can turn them off.
Yeah,
like
that's good. That's perfect. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So the 3 songs that we have put together today tell a story, and the first one is a story of my active addiction. The second one is wanting recovery, and then the third one is how I feel being in recovery. So, nice.
White lips, pale face, breathing in the snowflakes, burnt lungs, sour taste. Lights gone, days end, struggling to pay rent, long nights, strange men. And they say she's in the class 18, stuck in her daydream. Been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries. They scream the worst things in life come free to us, 'cause she's just under the upper hand. She goes mad for a couple grams. She don't wanna go outside tonight, and in a pipe she'll fly to the motherland, or sell love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly, for angels to fly. Red gloves, raincoat, try to swim, stay afloat, dry house, wet clothes. Loose change, banknotes, weary-eyed and dry throats, call girl, no phone. And they say she's in the class 18, stuck in her daydream. Been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries. They scream the worst things in life come free to us, 'cause she's just under the upper hand. She goes mad for a couple grams. She don't wanna go outside tonight, and in her pipe she'll fly to the motherland, or sell love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly. An angel will die, covered in white, closed-eyed and hoping for a better life. This time she'll fade out tonight, straight down the line. And they say she's in the class 18, stuck in her daydream. Been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries. They scream, the worst things in life come free to us, 'cause we are all under the upper hand. We go mad for a couple grams. We don't wanna go outside tonight, and in our pipe we'll fly to the motherland, or sell love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly. Angels to fly. Angels to fly. To fly. To fly. An angel will die. Woo!
Okay.
To all of you in the way, I push you aside. Flames burn down together. I refuse to ignite. I won't walk away. No, 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 that is not me. I'm here to stay. So I raise my hands in grace, pray for the ones I wish I could erase. 'Cause we are who we are, and we'll be who we'll be. We live for the moment, and the mystery of everybody owns a scar to show us how we got this far. 'Cause we are who we are, and we'll be who we'll be. Don't ever think you'll take away the fight in me. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, want it more than I ever did. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it more than I ever did. It's just starting over. I hear you're shutting down shop, boy, I'm taking it over. Yeah, I'm never gonna stop. Oh, I'm never gonna stop. Here's to the ones that said you wouldn't win. Here's to the crazies getting under your skin. Yeah, they're always gonna talk. Oh, but I'm never gonna stop. I won't walk away. I wanna crave it. I wanna crave it. I aim to misbehave, and I'm here to stay. So I raise my hands in grace, pray for the ones I wish I could erase. 'Cause we are who we are, and we'll be who we'll be. We live for the moment, and the mystery of everybody owns a scar to show us how we got this far. 'Cause we are who we are, and we'll be who we'll be. Don't ever think you'll take away the fight in me. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it more than I ever did. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it more than I ever did. I want it more than I ever did. I want it. So I raise my hands in grace, pray for the ones I wish I could erase. 'Cause we are who we are and we'll be who we'll be. We live for the moment and the mystery of everybody owns a scar to show us how we got this far. 'Cause we are who we are and we'll be who we'll be. Don't ever think you'll take away the fight in me. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it more than I ever did. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it more than I ever did. I want it. Just a little note about that song. It is by Blue October. If any of you are familiar with Blue October, the lead singer is also a recovering drug addict. So awesome! It shows that like rock stars can do this stuff too. Yeah.
You're a rock star. All right. All right. All right, we're ready for this.
We love you,
Ready for
Heidi.
this. I love you guys. It's great. I can't see too many of you, but all right. Pull this sucker out. I'm gonna move this.
This is all the stuff she already had in her closet.
Oh yeah. So I only get a few chances a year now to dress up, and I love dressing up. That is one thing that my recovery, it stays strong in my recovery, is my dress up. All right. I was born in the 80s with that summertime love, then changed the whole game. Like what have I done? Out the gutter I come to touch the bright sun, and from the highest heights, mother, I jump free in the sky. I believe I can fly. Ain't no telling what they're selling, men, the sheep in disguise. Keep this in mind, I keep on my grind. I can do it when I do it, and I will sleep when I die. Explosive, ferocious, get up, get down, that showbiz. Power to the people that have freedom in their focus. I hope this helps you when you're under the thumb, when you feel like nothing can save you, when you feel like jumping the gun. Stop, relax, and remember, even in the worst weather, you'll find a way, cross it, there'll be brighter days, honest. So get up, get out, get something that's on the real. Forget what you were taught and show these people how you feel like. Who are you to tell me how to live my life? 'Cause I won't give this up. These are my shoes, my view, my cue to say I do give up. Pretty soon I'm a bloom and it'll be alright. Every day's another chance to ignite. 'Cause I'm addicted, I'm addicted, I'm addicted to this universal feeling called life. Since a fetus, explored life's subtle secrets. From my fingertips to my unique double helix. I can see history, I can see the past lessons. It's your right, never be afraid to ask questions. Look at all the energy swirling all around us. We get affected, we project it as profound stuff. Earth is my garden and I grew from it. I pay the youth homage 'cause I know their views are honest. Can you read between the lines of the news comments? Fighting over land just to get some fuel from it. I guess all it boils down to is who profits. But whoa, what is it good for really? Who wants it? So who are you to tell me how to live my life? My life, 'cause I won't give this up. These are my shoes, my view, my cue to say I do give up.
Pretty soon I'm a bloomin', it'll be alright. Every day's another chance to ignite, cause I'm addicted. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to this universal feeling called life. We can change our thoughts, we can decide our fate. We can overcome the fight or go down in flames. Filling the void with sex, drugs, and hip-hop. Sharing it at meetings to make the thoughts stop. But in this matrix, I won't be failing to make it. This is my cosmos, baby space sailing with Sagan. I heard it's not where you're from, it's where you're carving your view. I paint this message on a canvas, it's from me to you. So,
Who are you to tell me how to live my life?
my life,
Cause I won't give this up.
these are my shoes, my view, my cue to say I do give up. Pretty soon I'm a bloomin', it'll be alright.
Alright.
Every day's another chance to ignite, cause I'm addicted.
Uh-oh.
I'm addicted.
Uh-oh.
I'm addicted to this universal feeling called life.
Who are you to tell me how to live my life?
My life,
Cause I won't give this up.
these are my shoes, my view, my cue to say I do give up. Pretty soon I'm a bloomin', it'll be alright.
Alright.
Every day's another chance to ignite, cause I'm addicted. I'm addicted.
Uh-oh.
I'm addicted to this universal feeling called life.
Thank you. Enough of all that. That's a pile of stuff going back there. It's okay. That's going off too. All right, we're good. Yeah, we can turn those back on. Slide this guy over. So thanks everyone, that's fun stuff. I will first off start by saying that I have always been very passionate about singing. My addiction took that away from me. In my recovery, I'm getting it back. There's a little story about that. So when I was commencing here, Mary overheard that this guy that was in treatment with me and I had been singing Lollipop. And so she said, well, I want to hear you guys sing Lollipop. So we did. Randy, thank you. And that was at my commencement. And then, I don't know, a few weeks later, she said, I want you two to sing Lollipop for Jumpstart. We all know that, you know, what Mary says we do. That's just how that goes. And I was like, you're not getting up in front of all those people and singing Lollipop. Like, but we did, and it was fun. And I think I almost threw up, I was so nervous. And then, I don't know, a month or two later, we came up with the song, brought it here, sang it, and then it just kind of went like that. We've done a lot of music here at Jumpstart, and it's amazing. And so thank you for giving me that, and for giving Caleb that. We've done a couple open mics, and it's very different, because here, we're performing in front of, 60 people that are, you know, sober, they're attentive, they're aware, they're focused on what we're doing. When you go to an open mic night, you're in a bar of maybe 15 people that are all wasted. Right. We're just singing up here by ourselves, and it doesn't really matter. So, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. So, I grew up in southern Utah, and I grew up in a town of 3,000 people, and if you were Caucasian, then you were Mormon, and if you were not Mormon, then you were Native American. We were one of two families that was not Mormon. So, from a very young age, I was picked on, I was beat up, I was the nerd. The bullies would beat me up, the preppy kids would pick on me. And I think around the age of 12, I decided I didn't care anymore. And I thought, well, you know what, if these guys are gonna pick on me for nothing, then I'm gonna give them something to pick on. And I started really acting out, and I started dressing crazy and being crazy and doing crazy stuff. This was before any drugs. Yeah, so here I am after any drugs, and yeah, again, it still shines through. This is good. So around the age of 13, you know, due to a guy that I liked, that's where it all starts. In came the cigarettes, the alcohol, the pot, the partying, and that was a real tumultuous situation. We had some friends that were undercover cops that lived there for 2 years. So by the time I was 14, I was best friends with the 2 drug dealers in the town, and also the 2 undercover cops without knowing it. Informants, cops, I don't really know what they were honestly, but so a situation occurred. I'm just going to share this, because this is part of my story, but this is something I've only recently worked through with my sponsor, so it's a little hard to share. I was planning on, you know, losing my virginity to my boyfriend, the guy that got me into all this stuff, and one day went over to the house. He was living with the drug dealers, and he wasn't there. So the drug dealers were a married couple, about 10 years older than us. And the husband was there, and he said, well, he's not here right now. He's off having sex with my wife. And so, do you want to have sex? Right. And I didn't. I absolutely didn't want to. After a few hours of a lot of peer pressure, I gave in. And so I pretty much lost my virginity to a statutory rape situation. 2 weeks later, I had a federal detective waking me up at my house, taking me in for questioning. He got taken to prison for that and some other charges. He had drug charges and a bunch of stuff that had gone on. And 3 months after that, our other 2 friends that were the undercover cops did this whole bust. It was like 3 towns across, and all of my friends, everyone went either to jail, to prison, to juvenile corrections. The wife, the drug dealer wife, she ran around telling everyone that I had her husband put in prison, and I lost any friends I had. I had no friends. I was hurt, I was broken, I was confused. My family didn't know what to think about me. And I spent months skipping school and going to the churches. Ironically, it was the churches that I would go to because there weren't really a lot of people there during the weekdays. And I would hide out in the churchyards, and I would listen to 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson on my phone, or on my little Walkman that I had. And for 3, 4, 5 months, I don't really remember how long that was my life. Anyone in school, no one would talk to me. Everyone thought that I had something to do with the whole sting operation, which I didn't. But about that time, my parents decided, okay, enough's enough. We're gonna get her out of here. And so they moved me up to Salt Lake City. So all this stuff goes on, you know, that I create all this havoc as a very young child for my family. Without meaning to, without intention. And so my years in Salt Lake were pretty good. I definitely partied a lot. And I was really into the party drugs. I sold mushrooms for a long time. I thought that was like the answer to everything. Like, we're gonna heal you with mushrooms, we're gonna heal you with mushrooms, you know? This is like what we're doing now. And I actually, interestingly enough, and I think about this sometimes, I actually got hired on as a billing clerk for an outpatient treatment center called Odyssey House. Weird, right? That this is where I ended up. And that was before I got into any major drugs. Like, okay, so again, mushrooms, that's kind of major, but I didn't look at it. It wasn't coke, meth, heroin, anything like that, right? I could sort of manage my life with these things. And there was no part of me that thought in any way, shape, or form that I was an addict. So I worked at this treatment center. I used to give UAs, watch all the women pee, you know, real funny stuff. But I would leave there, and I would have in my little 300Z, I bought a 300Z, it was my first car, little 2-seater, T-tops, that was like my baby. I loved that car. And I would leave there and I would have like a really big bag of mushrooms in it. And I would drive 2 blocks away, and that was my first stop to sell these and like make the money on the side. So I did that for a while, probably 2 or 3 years. And then again, here it goes with the guys again, so I get it. A guy that was a client at the treatment center, when he graduated, he and I started dating, and I decided, okay, well, I need to find a different job because it's not ethical for me to date someone that was in treatment while I was working there. So I did that, and about a month into it, found out that he was using meth. A lot of my friends were using meth and coke, and I was always the advocate, like, here, do mushrooms instead. I wanted to fix everyone. So this is not something, like, I wanted to heal everyone. This is not something that's new to me as an internal drive. And, but I didn't realize what I was gonna have to go through to get to a place where I could effectively help other people. So anyway, a little bit later, and here's, okay, so a lot of people are like, whatever, Heidi, that's BS, but here's the truth behind all this. Again, I was very against meth. I was very against coke, heroin, anything like that. I had a situation where the guy that I was dating he had his kids, very young kids, and he was high while he had his kids. And I'm gonna snitch on myself here for being a snitch, because I was in this situation. I did not think it was right that he was using while he had his children that were in the custody of Child Protective Services. And so I called Child Protective Services on him. And he had his kids completely taken away. So then I felt absolutely horrible. And I told him that I did it, and you know, it was not a pretty situation. So then I felt absolutely horrible, and I thought, gosh, how can I help people to get off of this stuff? Like, I know, because I do all these party drugs, and I know what they do to the brain, and I know how they work. So if I do meth just once, then I'm going to understand how it affects the brain so that I can help my friends get off of it. That's what started it for me. No joke, no joke. So that's what I did. I called up one of my friends and I was like, I want you to, get me some stuff. And he argued with me, and I was like, look, you can either find it for me or I'm going to go downtown and find it on the street somewhere. I would rather be with you. First time I did it, I was like, what's the big deal? Like, I just feel like I just drank a bunch of coffee. And, but then a month later, when I was staying up for days and couldn't get away from the stuff and couldn't go to work without it, and I was involved with people that were considered part of a drug ring and were committing high levels of fraudulent activity and had the cops showing up to raid my house, it went south really fast for me, as I'm sure it does for most of us. And so I don't need to go into a whole lot of that, but basically, I think I may have enjoyed it for about a month, and then I spent 8 years trying to get off of it. So during that 8-year period, I ended up getting in a relationship with my best friend from high school, and we lasted about 4 years. And then we both had to move back in with our parents because we couldn't maintain our jobs. And we were both trying to quit doing meth, but every time we would get together and hang out, we'd trigger each other, and then we'd go right back to it. So he moved about an hour and a half away, And then I thought, well, I'm gonna break up with him because we can't do this together. So maybe if we break up, then we'll be able to get clean separate and get back together and get married. And a month later, he was engaged to someone else. So I decided, okay, I've really screwed up my whole life living in Salt Lake City. I was living with my parents again at that time. I had just been fired from a job for not showing up for 3 days. I think most of us know what that's like. But I had a company vehicle that was a rental. It was this big Suburban, and they were threatening to report it stolen. So that was fun. So I called my sister who lived here, and I said, you know, she'd been offering for years, Heidi, move to Denver, Heidi, move to Denver. So I finally said, okay, look, I'm getting my tax return in like 2 weeks. I'm coming out hot. And it took me, so the drive from Salt Lake to Denver is like 8 hours. It took me 2.5 days because I was like partying it up. The last time I got a hotel room, like all this stuff kept getting stuck in snowstorms and like just sitting in my car getting high. 2.5 days to get from Salt Lake City to Denver, so that was fun. She's like, where are you? I'm coming, I promise. I got here, and for 2.5 years, I was able to stay off of meth. I continued to drink and smoke marijuana. And I got a really good job. My former career is in IT. I was working for DirecTV on a team of 5 people, and we managed all of the computers for pretty much that whole company. Did a lot of really cool stuff with them. And one day, I was hanging out with my next door neighbor at some apartments not too far from here, and he kept going in the back room, and people kept going in the back room, and I'm like, what's going on in the back room? Because I want to know. And I go in the back room, and sure enough, you know, there's my old friend. And I thought, well, I mean, it's been 2.5 years. Like, I can just do this again, just this once. That's fine, you know. So, started using meth again. 3 weeks later, I knew I was in trouble. That I was hooked again. And it did not take me long to figure that out. That continued for 3 years. And during that 3-year period, I went through some pretty horrendous stuff. It had gotten worse. It had gotten way worse than it was when I was using out in Salt Lake. I had gotten worse. And one of the pinnacle moments for me, I was working at a grow house, very colorful life. I was working at a grow house, I had my dog there, I left, and when I got home, my dog and I got out of the car, the dogs across the street started barking at her. Now my dog, I have to just back up here and say this, my dog was my soulmate. My dog moved out here with me in my Civic when it was me, my dog, and 2 plants and whatever clothes I could fit in my car. So her name was Karma, and she proved to be just that. She ran across the street, the truck came, I watched the whole thing, and I was in the street laying there with my dead dog, screaming, totally freaking out. The neighbors called the cops because they couldn't get me out of the road. Cops came, whatever. My sister showed up, took my dog to BRC over here. And for the next 3 months, I tried to kill myself on a pretty regular basis. At one point, I was playing with my gun, and I had it up to my head, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, you know. So I knew things had to change. I didn't know how to change them. And I got to the point, you know, we've all had those like 1,000 last times, right? Where like you tell your friends, you tell your dealer, you tell everyone like, never again. Like you're all whacked out of your mind. You're like, never doing this again, man. We're done, let's stop tomorrow, you know? And then tomorrow comes and you're coming down, and so then it's like, oh, I need a fix. I got to the point to where I wouldn't give my dope dealers my phone number because I didn't want them hitting me up whenever they had really good stuff. because every time was my last time. And so I would block my phone number when I would call them, but they would answer because they knew it was me, and they knew I had money. So that went on for a while. And then one day, it was like the last time, and I can only attribute this to God, because I don't know how else it happened. I had just started a new job. I had probably worked 15 jobs in that 3-year period. And I was like, I really don't want to go through this. Is a really good job, right? Really good money, good benefits, everything, really good position. I remember during orientation, I couldn't keep my eyes open because I was coming down. And when I left there that day, I called my dealer, who was also my best friend. Of course, they always are, right? And I said, hey, whatever. He's like, yeah, come over. I got some really good stuff. That was April 15th, so 3.5 years ago. I got off the phone and I sat there and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I started praying. And I was like, Father, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm dying and I'm sick of it and I'm fed up and I cannot continue this life. Like, I will kill myself if I continue this life. And something happened and I called him back and I said, I'm not coming over. I hear about this thing called NA, and I'm gonna check out an NA meeting, and it looks like there's one not too far from my house that starts in like 45 minutes. I'm gonna go to that instead, and I need you to never call me again. Well, he had heard that 1,000 times, right? But something was different, and he knew something was different, and he agreed. And I went to an NA meeting. And then the next day I went to another NA meeting. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And then all of a sudden here I am and I'm coming up on 30 days. And I'm really excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get that 30-day key tag, this is awesome. And I'm talking to one of my friends in the rooms and he's like, don't you dare pick up a key tag. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I have 30 days off meth tomorrow. He goes, Heidi, you're still smoking pot, you're still drinking. Those of us that are in this room, we earn this from being off of all substances. So I lost it. That was really hard for me to hear. Right? So I went home. I almost called my dealer. I punched the wall a few times. I'm screaming at God. I'm freaking out. And instead I call my friend back that just told me that, and I talked through it with him. And I didn't use over it. I was using, but not that, okay? So the next day I went to a meeting and I did not pick up a 30-day key tag, and I shared about where I was at. And that I was very proud of myself for being off of meth for 30 days, but that I was not prepared to quit alcohol and marijuana. I didn't think that they affected my life in a negative way, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward like a year, still off meth, I end up at Porter Hospital because I did not want to live any longer. I wasn't actively trying to kill myself, but I did not want to live. I had not gone to work for 4 days. I called my sister. I said, I don't know what to do. She said, pack a bag and take me to Porter. I went there. I told them, I don't want to live. They said, okay, we're keeping you for 3 days. Okay. So they did that. I hung out there for 3 days. It was enlightening. And then they said, okay, you have your choice. We have 2 different outpatient options. We have a substance abuse outpatient option, or we have an anxiety and depression outpatient option. I said, well, I have anxiety and depression. They said, okay, we're just going to be very clear with you on this, that alcohol causes depression and marijuana causes anxiety. So do you have an anxiety and depression issue, or do you have a substance abuse issue? Oh, it's anxiety and depression. Okay, so they said, that's fine. We'll put you in our anxiety and depression outpatient, but you have to quit using alcohol and marijuana throughout this, 3-month period. Oh yeah, no problem. That was hard. That was really, really hard. I couldn't do it. I could go a couple of weeks, and then I'd slip up, and so then I'd go in and I'd tell my counselors, yeah, I slipped up, and then my counselor says, okay, you need to start going back to Narcotics Anonymous. Because at this point, I was no longer going to Narcotics Anonymous because I was not getting clean. And I conquered my meth addiction, right? Conquered it. Whatever. So I started going to NA again, and I met this guy. Again with the guys. I met this guy, and this guy happened to live in a sober home. And I didn't really know what that was all about. In fact, the first time I met this guy, he was having someone take him back to the treatment center, and I thought how cool it was that he was at a meeting while he was in the treatment center. And then, as men like to do and women like to do, I guess everyone's doing it. When people are getting clean in early recovery, they like to hook up. It's what it is, and it sucks. It's not the way to go with things. I'll just say that right now because. So anyway, so this guy's like, oh, here's a chick. She's got 7 days clean. Yeah, let's go hang out. Okay. So on Valentine's Day, oh, come on over to my house. Let's watch a movie. That is actually all that happened. But that was, if it had been up to him, a lot more would have gone on. Anyway, I go over to this house, and it's off of Wadsworth, and I don't know, like Florida? So there's all these dudes living in this house. I'm like, what is this? Oh, this is a sober home. Okay, cool, right on. So fast forward about a month, I can't get clean. I can't do it. I can go 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think I hit 30 days, and I just keep going back, and I keep going back. And so one day I'm laying in bed. I'm super depressed. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't gone to work, and this guy calls me. And at this point, I hate him because he was a jerk, and a lot of things happened, and we'll leave it at that. Son, what are you doing calling me? And he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I don't care about life. And he said, okay, I'm going to give your number to a woman named Mary. She is going to call you. You are going to answer. And I'm like, I'm not doing a 45-day inpatient treatment center. I have a dog. Do you not realize that I have a dog? Like, what am I going to do with my dog? So Mary calls me and says, come on in, I want to give you a tour of this place. Well, at this point, I was pursuing an idea, and my idea was that I was going to create some form of holistic wellness center, which is hilarious because I was not well. Okay? Not well at all. But that was my dream. And so I come down here and I get a tour of this place, and I'm looking and I'm going, this is very holistic. The lens, the biomat, the massages. Okay, I'm like, this is a very different approach to treatment. And at the time I'm still working for this really good company, still have really good benefits, whatever. Anyway, so she calls me the next day. She says, hey, we can get you in on Thursday. And I said, well, can we wait till Monday? No, you're coming in on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. I'm like, okay, so I made arrangements for my dog, and my dog actually stayed here for a week, as they do sometimes. We didn't know about that. So I came in, and I will say that during my stay here at NBRC, I would never be able to come up here and do this. I didn't really talk a whole lot. I was very withdrawn. I didn't know how to talk without alcohol or marijuana in my system. I did not. That was a whole thing I had to learn, and it took a lot of time. And so I'd go to group. I had some really awesome books that were on some holistic stuff, some yoga, some meditations. And I would leave group and I would go down into my room, and these guys all thought I was isolating. It's hilarious, really cute. Because I was in my room teaching myself tools that I could use in my recovery, because I had a feeling, just a little feeling, that even though while I was here as a client, feeling real good and not having any thoughts of wanting to use, that I had no idea how I was going to function once I went home. And I was very right on that. So when I left NBRC, I went back to my house. I had a really good situation with an awesome landlord, beautiful property. Rent was good. It was my own little carriage house, so I did not go into a sober home. I went home, and I remember going home that day, and I laid on my bed, I think, all day. And I think I was able to make it from like my bed to my fridge to my laptop for a week. It was like that. I couldn't leave the house, couldn't call anyone. I was having major anxiety. I was having major depression. I did not know what to do with myself. I didn't know how to function. And so for a week I sat in that, and then I finally was like, okay, I think I'm gonna try to go to a meeting today, because this sucks. And so I went to a meeting. When I first started going to meetings, I would sit, I would listen, I wouldn't share. I didn't talk to people before or after the meetings. I didn't, I just was like, I'm here, this is what I'm doing. And then slowly I started thinking, all right, I gotta start making some friends, because all of my friends are using. They're all using. And I can talk to them on the phone, but then I'm just gonna wanna go over to their house, or join them for this party or that party or this thing or that thing. And so I started to, what I would do is this. So after a meeting was over, you get these little groups of people standing around talking. And I go and I just kind of like walk up and I just stand there, kind of listening. And then if they're talking about football, I'm like, I'm out, because I don't know anything about football. I'm like, okay, that's not my conversation. Sports, no, okay. But then like sometimes they'd be talking about other things, and I could maybe chime in on something that they were talking about. And then maybe I could chime in a little bit more, and then maybe they'd be like, oh, who are you? Hi, I'm Heidi. Nice to meet you. Okay, I'm out now. Bye. So that was my slow progression into meeting people in recovery. And then I met this awesome woman, and she's like, oh my gosh, Heidi, you've got to come do this activity stuff with me. And I'm like, what is this activity stuff? Well, it turns out there's a committee of people that actually put a lot of work into the activities that Narcotics Anonymous does. So for me, that was right up my alley, because hello, I like to party. And if I can't party in recovery, I don't know what I'm doing here. So I've got to have fun. We've got to have fun with this stuff, right? I mean, it cannot be boring. Like, this is our life. And we got to have fun with it. So I got on this activities committee, and then before you know it, I have a lot of friends in Narcotics Anonymous, because now I'm working with people, I'm meeting people, I'm planning events, I'm being of service at events, if it's nothing more than making sure the coffee machine is full, taking people's money for donations, stamping their hands when they show up for the event, whatever it is. I'm now meeting a lot of faces. I'm seeing a lot of faces, and then the really cool thing is then I see your face at a meeting, and I'm like, hey, I know that guy. I took his money once. What's your name again, guy? That's rolling. So little by little, well, then we have this huge event that's called CRICNA. Colorado Regional Convention of Narcotics Anonymous. And the first time I went, I was by myself. I got a hotel room by myself, and I wandered around, and I would see faces. I'm like, I know that face. Oh, I know that person's name. Hey, how's it going? You, I know your name. And I remember counting, and there was probably about 50 people that I recognized from meetings at this event, and that was really cool for me. We had a dance Saturday night. I probably wore these, dance. People were like, look at that girl, she's a raver chick. In recovery, that's awesome. Okay. So then, kind of fast forwarding a little more, man. At one point, me and one of my friends came to Mary, and we said, Mary, we don't know what to do for New Year's. We're really going to want to use for New Year's, and that's a big deal. That's a big day that we used to go party. And so can we maybe have a little New Year's Eve party at one of the houses? And she said, well, why don't you just do it right here at NBRC? So me and my friend Melanie, we put on this whole thing. We got all kinds of stuff. We had this whole room set up for games and a wall you could sign your name on. It said Happy New Year's, like the photo op area. We had karaoke going on in this other room. We had another friend that had all these cool lights and set up this really cool disco thing going on in there. And it was awesome. It was awesome, It was a lot of fun. So that started my re-involvement kind of with New Beginnings and Mary's Hope. And it started with service. The best things in my life that have happened to me always start with service. So I will say this, that I went through NBRC 2.5 years ago. I'm celebrating a year today. Okay. There's obviously a little bit of relapse to my story. And a lot of that had to do with a relationship in early recovery, which is why we recommend don't do it. But I wasn't going to take that suggestion. I did, and that individual and I went through some really rough things, which I'm not going to get into here today. But we both learned, we grew, and with the support of Mary, we're both here today. I don't know how that happened, but we are. The last thing I want to talk about, because this is really important, is this. So in my recovery, one thing that I learned is that what I think about is what happens in real life. And the things that I want to create in my life, I can ask for, I can have gratitude for them as though I have them, and then I can give them to God. And what God can do with those things that I want to create in my life, He'll create them for me. He's created them for me. When I first left NBRC, I did not go back to my high-paying career in IT. I worked here part-time for a period of time, and then I worked at another place making $11 an hour at a weight loss center, and I was used to making $25 an hour. But I was focused on something larger. And that was my dream that I had created when I was still sick, of creating a wellness practice, a holistic health practice, of showing other people how we can manage our lives without substances, without prescriptions, without all of these things that we lean on that just make us more sick. And I started going back to school, and I couldn't afford school. I was making $11 an hour, but it didn't matter. I started with one class that was 1 credit, and I figured it out. And I didn't figure it out. God took care of that for me, because I was passionate, and I still am passionate about what I am doing in my life. And so I said, okay, Father, this is what I want. Here's a door that's open. I'm going to walk through this door. And if that door slams shut on me before I can get through it, then that's your way of teaching me a lesson and showing me, hey, maybe that wasn't the door. But if I walk through that door, that's on you. And so God has come in and He opens these doors, and I go, there's a door. No idea how that's going to work. but I'm gonna do it. And then it works. And then it happens. And little by little by little, here I am 2.5 years from when I came through NBRC, and I am a certified life coach, certified recovery coach. I will have my wellness coaching certification in January. I will have my holistic health practitioner certification in January, and then I'm going to be turning that into an associate's degree because I can. Here's the interesting thing. Grants started popping up. Like, I didn't apply for these things. They just happened. And they happened because I would let it go and I would say, Father, this is what I want. Thank you. Here's the key. Thank you for giving this to me. Thank you for giving this to me. Not, I want it, please, 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 please. Thank you for giving this to me. And how it works out, that's on you. I don't have to worry about that. You just show me. I've had thoughts that have popped into my head that are not my own. And I go, ooh, okay, that's fun, let's go do that. Because they're God. And we all have this. I want you all to know that we all have this. It's that thing called faith. It's that thing called letting go and turning your life over to the care of God. And saying, okay, be passionate. Find something. I don't care what it is. Find something that you can be passionate about. Because that passion is what drives that force when you're passionate with God and you say, God, this is it. He says, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And so I continue in that, and I stay steady in that. And that's what I have. That's my time.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi.
I just have to say, I mean, this girl has made it.
Yes.
You know, look at her.
Yes.
It is just a miracle, and she's only one of many, but, it does require determination,
Yes,
you know?
that's right.
And God, you have to get God in your heart and in your life. So because Heidi has made me cry now this morning, and because she's so bright, she gets a bright purple journal, and it just says, count your blessings, and it says a lot more, but I can't see it because I got tears in my eyes. But anyway, I am extraordinarily proud of you, young lady. You are a rock star. You made it. All right,
Who is the guy you're singing with?
Oh, yeah, this is Caleb.
Okay.
This is my
Hey, Caleb!
So a lot of you guys don't know Caleb. I'm going to say this about Caleb. Caleb successfully completed going through NBRC twice and living at Mary's Hope for, how long did you live there? Almost 2 years? Yeah. Caleb is a story all on his own.
Seems like it was 10 years. I don't know. But you know what? Caleb is a rock star too.
Yeah.
And, you're awesome. All right, so no questions for Heidi?
I got one.
Yes,
Yes.
Randy.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I really like that. And also somebody told me the ABCs of service work. What was it? Something brooms and chairs, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, something brooms and chairs, yeah.
Oh,
that was cool.
ashtrays.
Ashtrays, brooms, and chairs.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I really liked how you said the best things in my life always start with service. That's really cool. But the event that we're having with it's gonna be at the Crown Hotel, right?
Quick enough. Oh,
Yeah,
let me make it-
when is that this year?
Yeah.